on the ruling government. For example, if any party wants to bring in a private member's bill on the women's reservation bill, that will be a very good pressure point for the government. We can start by asking more questions on the women reservation bill itself. We can mention it in the 0 hour. Like that, there are so many tools in special mentions. We can give adjournment motions so that the government can introduce women's reservation bill. And why do I speak about building pressure inside the parliament? The only one and only reason is this is a government with full mandate, and if we bring about reasonable pressure on the government and the bill is introduced, then this is a very achievable target. So with this particular point of interest, today we have invited member of parliaments from various political parties. First of all, I would like to thank the entire parliament members who are sitting here from BRS party, and I'll invite Ms. Malot Kavitha garu to come and join us here on the stage. Then Mr. Santosh Kumar, MP from CPI. Before Mr. Santosh Kumar, I would like to invite Mr. Narayan garu, who is the CPI party National General Secretary, and Mr. Binoy Vishwam garu, MP from CPI. Please join us on the stage, sir. Ms. Tamilachi from Chennai South, ma'am, MP? Chennai, please come. Welcome on the stage. And I would like to invite Ms. Pratibha Singh, who is the RLD National Women Wing President of RLD. Mr. Vinit Narayan garu, please, you don't want to say a few words? Okay. Can you get the name of from Beam Army, please? Mr. Gurnam Singh garu, who is from the Kisan Manch, I would like to welcome you on the stage, sir, so that you can please come up. पार्लियामेंट के बाहर लड़ना है तो किसानों से सीखे, इसीलिए हमने कहा गुरनाम सिंह जी को बुलाते हैं सपोर्ट में. विष्णु, Mr. Harjit Patti from Beam Army, that is the Azad Party, please come on the stage. Rekha Bora ji, please come on the stage. I would like to ask Mr. Narayan garu to make some opening statements, and then we'll pass it on to the MPs, sir.
First of all, I must congratulate Kavitha, who is initiating to fight for women's reservation bill. This bill, when Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, he appointed a parliamentary committee under the leadership of Geeta Mukherjee, veteran CPI parliamentarian. She toured all over India and prepared a very good report, submitted to Parliament. Meanwhile, Devagowda government came up. Some of the important political leaders, I don't want to say name here, they objected. If the bill is passed, throughout India, you can say for the eligibility of the Prime Ministers, 4 or 5 members will be there. If the reservation occupied all women, so you can't find Prime Minister candidate. So without Prime Minister candidate, how the country goes? It's a peculiar argument. So if women cannot lead this country, whatever చెప్పారట, నేనే పుట్టకపోతే ఎవరు పని చేసుకుంటారంటే వాడు అన్నాడంట, నీ అమ్మని చేసుకుంటానని చెప్పాడట. అట్లా ఆల్రెడీ పుట్టున్నారు, ఆల్రెడీ born here. Anybody can take power. But anti-woman philosophy, that's why they rejected. The present Prime Minister, before coming to the power, he promised that when I'm coming to the power, implementing the women reservation bill. He promised. Now he got a tremendous majority without depending on others. Manmohan Singh government and Devagowda government, Gujral government, they don't have an absolute majority. If somebody opposed, they cannot introduce the bill. But the BJP government, they got absolute majority. They can pass the bill. But why he is not passing the bill? Why he is not introducing? Though his promise, that promise made by not Kavitha, that promise made by Prime Minister of India, Modi. Now, he is avoiding. That is why this is the just and genuine demand and the very, very good report before the Parliament. And they can accept. All will support. Though communists, we are opposing BJP. TRS also opposing BJP. But let him initiate Prime Minister Modi to introduce bill in Parliament. Definitely our party will support this bill. Though we are opposing the political party, but this bill we will support. The way I'm not coming forward. That's why this is Kavitha and myself and all are from Telangana movement. We are here. Separate State of Telangana. The CPI, the first party, national parties, officially resolved that supporting Telangana. From that onwards, we are fighting. Both the streets, outside, everywhere, we fought like anything. That's why she got fighting capacity and experience with the people's movement. Now she take up that issue. This issue is not the Kavitha, this issue belongs to the entire woman flock and also all democratic forces. That's why we want to support here and inside the parliament and outside the parliament. Like, you can announce. You can announce.
Welcome to the conference, Priyanka ma'am. Please, can you get onto the stage?
So I promise, Kavitha ji, already we got experience fighting the streets. Now we are ready to fight in the streets and also in the parliament. Our MP is also here. So I promised that this bill should be strengthened. And what kind of agitation means? We have our own steps of agitation outside and inside. That's why this roundtable meeting is not confined only limited part those who attended. Those who are not attended also, there's also responsibility that they have committed for the Women's Reservation Bill. We are wholeheartedly supporting, and in future, inside the Parliament and outside the Parliament, we will definitely take up the issue and fight for. Wish you all the best.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच। आप सभी को नमस्कार। आज इकट्ठे हुए हैं हम विमेन रिजर्वेशन बिल पर बातचीत करने के लिए। तो यहाँ आए हुए सभी स्टूडेंट्स को, सभी एमपीस महोदय, मुख्य अतिथि, सबको हाथ जोड़कर नमस्कार और आप सबका यहाँ पे हम सादर अभिनंदन करते हैं। इसी कड़ी में आगे मैं इनवाइट करना चाहूंगी सरदार गुरनाम सिंह चढ़ूनी जी, जो बीआरएस के किसान सेल के राष्ट्रीय नेता हैं और बीकेयू चढ़ूनी के नेशनल प्रेसिडेंट हैं। सर, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी कि इस महिला बिल के बारे में आपके क्या विचार हैं?
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा हमारी बेटी कविता जी का, जिन्होंने बहुत अच्छा ये मुद्दा देश के सामने उठाया है और सभी का जो सभी मौजूद हमारे भाई, हमारी बहनें मंच पे बैठे हैं, सामने बैठे सभी हमारे भाई, बच्चे, हमारे पत्रकार भाई, देखिए हर क्षेत्र में महिलाओं ने कीर्तिमान स्थापित किए। चाहे पढ़ाई में देख लें, चाहे खेल में देख लें, चाहे नौकरी के क्षेत्र में देख लें और चाहे राजनीति के क्षेत्र में देख लें, सभी जगह जो महिलाओं का काम है वो बहुत अच्छा और बहुत टॉप पर रहा है। और ये जो मुद्दा है कि महिला बिलवाड़ा के बराबर हिस्सा होना चाहिए। जब आबादी बराबर है तो हमारा विचार है कि हिस्सा भी बराबर जरूर होना चाहिए देश को चलाने में, देश का नेतृत्व करने में। तो हम इस बात का समर्थन करते हैं और उसके साथ साथ ये भी कहते हैं कि देश की जितनी राजनीतिक पार्टियां, जितने सामाजिक संगठन, जितने हमारे मीडिया वाले भाई, उन सबको भी इसका समर्थन करना चाहिए। सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। इसी कड़ी में मैं आगे आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी मिसेस रेखा, जो सोशल एक्टिविस्ट हैं। मैम, आप महिला बिल से संबंधित अपने क्या विचार रखते हैं? महिलाओं को आगे आना चाहिए, नहीं आना चाहिए?
आप सबको मेरी नमस्कार। मैं अमेरिका से आई हुई हूँ। इनको अप्रिशिएट करते हैं कविता मैम को, तो इनके साथ अभी 2-3 दिन पहले वहाँ बैठे थे एक मोर्चा प्रोटेस्ट ऑन द वुमेन्स रिजर्वेशन बिल। I'm delighted to see Priyanka Chaturvedi, whom I admire so greatly, and I always reply to your tweets from New York, let me tell you that. And most of all, who's called me here is to be blamed is Vineet Narayan, my brother. He pushed me onto the stage. I don't know why. But what I want to congratulate all of you about is so nice to see you youngsters from schools, because when we participated in the women's empowerment movement time of the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, we spoke about GEMS, which was gender equality movement in schools. I hope you people remember that, read about it. And there were so many others. We were CEDAW, we were VAW, Violence Against Women. There was so much that we guys did. And we are so happy that your younger generation is carrying it forward. So our blessings to you people. This must be done. We must get it. It is, something that has been lingering for more than 26 years. So it's about time. Sardarji said very rightly that we are half the population, so we should get our rights. But not because of that. We must get our rights because we deserve our rights. We have worked for it. We work equally so well in every sphere. So the nation won't advance if we don't advance. We get empowered, the nation gets empowered. And, it's women's empowerment is nice because when a woman learns to fight, she can fight any coward. So that's what's important when women get forward. So I'm not going to talk too much because I'm always caught unprepared. I can speak volumes on the women's bill and the women's movement because I've been an activist almost since birth. I got it from my mom. But today there are so many other distinguished people here, and I should not bite into their time. So they must speak. I came to hear more than talk myself. But children, my blessings are for you. Please carry this message forward from your homes, into your schools, into your communities, that women are your equals. All right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. महिलाएं 50% आबादी की हकदार हैं, वो वोट देती हैं। 50% की संख्या में हम मौजूद हैं, तो हमें सत्ता में आने का अधिकार क्यों नहीं है? मैम, आपने सही क्वेश्चन रेज किया है। इसी कड़ी में प्रियंका चतुर्वेदी मैम से पूछना चाहूंगी कि मैम, आपका इस बिल के लिए और आपकी पार्टी का क्या स्टैंड है?
Before Priyanka you speak, because you missed out of the introduction, I just wanted to request you that this roundtable conference wants to primarily focus on what tools can be utilized inside the House of the Parliament to draw the attention of the government, like adjournment motions, like questions, like tabling private member bills, etc. So if you could also include that in your speech.
So thank you so much for your kind words. Firstly, about me, I had no idea that I had fans in New York and they respond to my tweets, so thank you so much. Thank you, Kavitha ji, for making me a part of this discussion, the roundtable discussion. When you mentioned the discussion and the tools we can use, the most important tool which, you have, Sumati has been a part of, that I started an initiative where young girls like them could apply to a fellowship program where they could intern with women members of parliament. Women, supporting women, helping them with research, and they giving them their experience and exposure and a platform. And from there on, they would intern for 3 months with a policy think tank, so that when they go as, as someone with that fellowship, they are equipped not just to speak up on politics, but also on policy. And they're just not afraid with the kind of trolling that you see online when women are asked to keep quiet, women are told that they cannot speak beyond the point, they don't know much, they don't know enough. We know enough, we will contribute enough, and we will contribute as much as we want. And why should we stop at 50%? We can claim for 60% too, because it has been denied to us. One more thing I'd like to bring to everyone's attention, and something that always keeps playing in my mind, and I keep telling at every repeated discussion that we have on this. USA had to fight, the women in USA had to fight for their right to vote. They fought for it for several years. Our Indian constitution makers were so visionary and progressive in their thought that when they drew up the constitution, they decided that right equal on the basis of the gender. So when we had such constitutional makers, what stops us? Why were the barriers created to keep women out of politics? And that is where we need to change the equation. How we change the equation? One tool I've already mentioned, that we as women parliamentarians have contributed. Sumati has been kind enough to accommodate some of our interns. At the same, oh, I'm so sorry. I keep calling her that. Oh, okay. The other part that we do, which I have also spoken about through my private members bill, is not about, I would say particularly about reservation, but about making policy and politics accessible for women. Every point in the parliament, and people keep telling me that women angle every. I said, I am a woman of it all, whether you talk about health, you talk about economics, you talk about foreign policy, you talk about migration, you talk about climate change. Women, intersectionality of all, and I will speak about women and the aspect of women in these spaces. So in all my speeches, I'm very conscious of the fact how when we are discussing whether it's abortion rights, whether it is about termination of pregnancy, I make conscious effort to ensure that all points are heard and all points are recorded in the parliamentary records. So those are things that we can do. Many times we have seen that women in parliament usually shy away from taking up gender causes. I've seen that many times. They say that, our voters are also men. But I'm very certain that men would also accommodate the idea of having more women in policy making spaces, and if they together make that difference, it would be a better world for our young girls to be able to look at politics and policy as a career option, as an option to serve the nation. So those were my thoughts, and thank you so much for calling me once again.
So thank you, Priyanka ma'am. It was nice to hear that you push private members bill. So we hope that you will be pushing to pass the private members bill for women's empowerment as well, and you will support us. Thank you.
इसी कड़ी में नेक्स्ट आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी मिसेस प्रतिभा, जो आरएलडी की महिला राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष हैं और राजस्थान से एमपी रही हैं। तो मैम, आप अपने विचार रखें और अपनी पार्टी का स्टैंड रखें।
नमस्कार, मैं कविता जी को बहुत बधाई देना चाहूंगी इस चीज की। ज्वलंत मुद्दा था और अब शायद 2 ही सेशन होने वाले, बिल रखा जा सकता है, उसके बाद तो इलेक्शन आ जाएंगे। और बड़े सही मौके पे इन्होंने ये प्रयास किया है कि इस महिला आरक्षण बिल के लिए बिल्कुल वक्त पे चोट करने का टाइम है अभी सरकार की। आप याद करिए, किसानों का आंदोलन था और सब लोग कहते थे कि भाई सरकार जो ये है इतनी जिद्दी है, कभी बैकफुट पे नहीं आएगी। और आप लोगों ने देखा, यूपी के चुनाव सामने थे और सरकार को घुटने टेकने पड़े और तीनों बिल वापस लेने पड़े। ये हिंदुस्तान की आधी आबादी की शक्ति है पास कराने के पीछे है। और पूरे हिंदुस्तान में आजादी की लड़ाई भी बिना महिलाओं की सहभागिता के बिना नहीं लड़ी गई थी। गांधी जी को अंत में हिंदुस्तान की महिलाओं को उस आंदोलन में शामिल करना पड़ा था और तब हम लोगों ने उस आजादी की लड़ाई को जीता था। तो ये हमें अंदर पार्लियामेंट में जो भी ऑपोजिशन की ज्यादातर पार्टियां हैं, और ये एक ऐसा मुद्दा है, यदि बिल प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल भी पार्लियामेंट में इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया तो सरकार की जो किसान आंदोलन के बिल पे स्थिति थी सांप छछुंदर वाली, न तो निगला जाएगा न उगला जाएगा, वो स्थिति इनकी होने वाली है। इसलिए मजबूती से बाहर और एक इसी किस्म की मीटिंग बड़ी, मैं कविता जी को सलाह देना चाहूंगी मेरी तरफ से कि आपको यहाँ पे बाहर भी प्रेशर इसके अंदर डेवलप करना चाहिए। अंदर प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल रखेंगे तो सरकार को उसके अंदर हाँ ना का जवाब देना पड़ेगा। ना का जवाब चुनाव की साल में कोई पार्टी नहीं दे सकती है, चाहे उसके पास कितना भी बहुमत हो। तो मैं हमारा पूरा सपोर्ट है। और ऊपर से दो ही पार्टी बन के आई है, एक मर्द की एक औरत की, और हम 50% है। इसलिए आपने ये बहुत सही मौके पे कविता जी ने ये मुद्दा रखा है और हम सब लोग हाथ से हाथ मिला के एक दूसरे को मजबूत करेंगे और सरकार को विवश करेंगे कि वो इस बिल को पास करे। जय हिंद।
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to invite Mr.
Manoj
Manoj Jha,
Jha
sir.
ji,
Please
MP
come on to
Rajya
the
Sabha,
stage.
please.
And Miss Mahua Maji from JMM, Member of Parliament. Ma'am, please come on stage. Ma'am, the docket that we are giving to the MPs today has a draft private members bill, and it has a lot of questions. Vishnu, one more docket to Manoj Jha sir ke liye ek aur docket. Madam ke liye ek aur docket de dena. So that also has a draft private member bill. It has many questions on women reservation bill that can be posed, and it has a full history of the women reservation. So that is our small, sabko pen drive bhi de dijiye please. This is our small effort from Bharat Jagruti, so that member of parliamentarians, if required, can get some inputs from this. And with that, I would like to invite Mr. Azad to please express your views.
हेलो, सबसे पहले तो मंच पे उपस्थित मेरे सारे साथी, कविता जी, आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने एक बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट मुद्दे को उठाया है। और हमारी पार्टी भीम आर्मी आज़ाद समाज पार्टी, जो एक दलितों का, पिछड़ों का, आदिवासियों का रिप्रेजेंटेशन करती है, उसमें महिलाओं का रिप्रेजेंटेशन सबसे ऊपर है, सबसे अहम है, और हम उसके लिए हमेशा लड़ते आए हैं और लड़ते रहेंगे। और मैं उसके साथ साथ आप लोगों को आज बधाई भी देना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि मान्यवर साहेब कांसी राम का आज जन्मदिन है, और वो एक ऐसे महापुरुष थे जिन्होंने हिंदुस्तान की पूरी राजनीति बदल के रख दी, क्योंकि वो एक सोच लेके चले थे, और वो सोच थी कि जिसकी जितनी संख्या भारी उसकी उतनी हिस्सेदारी। ये एक ऐसी सोच थी जिसने हिंदुस्तान की राजनीति को बदला, सोच को बदला, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बात पूरी संख्या की और उस संख्या के रिप्रेजेंटेशन की थी। और अगर मैं आपसे ये पूछूं कि आज आपके सामने अगर कोई आता है, तो जब वो आपके सामने होता है, आज सबसे पहले आपके दिमाग में क्या ख्याल आता है? क्या हिंदू मुसलमान का ख्याल आता है? क्या दलित या ब्राह्मण का ख्याल आता है? या सबसे पहला ख्याल ये आता है कि ये महिला है कि पुरुष है? जब भगवान ने हमें बनाया, भगवान कह लीजिए, बायोलॉजी, नेचर, एवोल्यूशन, जिस तरह की आप धारणा रखते हैं, लेकिन कहने का मतलब सिर्फ इतना है कि ऊपर से सिर्फ दो रिप्रेजेंटेशन है, महिला और पुरुष का। और जब बात करें इस धारणा को साहब कांशीराम की विचारधारा के साथ जोड़ने की, क्योंकि हमारी पार्टी का नाम ही आजाद समाज पार्टी कांशीराम है, हम साहब की विचारधारा को लेके आगे चलते हैं। उनका साफ कहना है कि जिसकी जितनी संख्या भारी उसकी उतनी हिस्सेदारी। तो वो हिस्सेदारी जमीन से लेके, इंस्टीट्यूशन से लेके और पार्लियामेंट तक हर जगह पे मिलनी चाहिए। हम उसका पुरजोर समर्थन करते हैं और हम पूरी तरह से इस बिल के साथ हैं। हम ये चाहते हैं कि ये बिल जल्द से जल्द पार्लियामेंट में पास हो। हम इसका पूरा समर्थन करते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much. You can speak.
Honorable MP Manoj Jaji, Rajya Sabha MP, can you please have a few words?
No,
And
sir will speak first.
oh, okay, sorry.
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 sir. Up-
Binoy ji, you can start off.
Shukriya. Thank you so much, Kavitha ji and everybody on the dais. We stand in solidarity with this idea of the bill. मेरी पार्टी का थोड़ा एक अलग उसमें जो आज़ाद समाज के हमारे साथी बोल रहे थे, हमारी पार्टी का मानना है कि in order to have the widest representation, one must look for reservation within reservation. So we advocate a plank which is SC, ST, OBC, women on the overall quantum of reservation which we are talking about and appealing for and pressing for within that reservation. This is a long pending demand. The only thing is that tells you that the structures we have built in last 70, 75 years, which are so fundamentally patriarchal, they are not willing to relent in order to have this kind of reservation where we again reiterate reservation within reservation. We must have a kind of strategy whereby issues are raised in parliament as well as outside. What I've seen in my limited experience, that a mass movement on the road makes the parliament come down on its knees. That we have seen in case of farmers movement and so many other movements. We remain in solidarity with all of you, your idea, with the addition what I just said. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Once again, thank you very much for calling.
Thank you, Mr. Jha. The idea of quota within quota, or the idea of having the census of the OBC itself, has been widely supported now. But unfortunately, from 2014 till date, even the regular census is also not taken. That is something we are all also demanding. And thank you so much for expressing the solidarity, sir.
May I request Honorable Rajya Sabha MP Binoy Vishwamji to have a few words for us.
Friends,
किसान लीडर मिस्टर बलबीर सिंह राजेवाल जी हमारे बीच मौजूद हैं। उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि प्लीज स्टेज पे आएं सर।
I believe that all of us who have come here are committed to a cause, and we are in one voice here to tell that we stand for the Women Reservation Bill to get passed as early as possible. Very easy to say so much, but to get it done, it needs a lot of struggle to continue. The main reason is that our society is a patriarchal one. Our politics also is patriarchal. Even those parties who speak in terms of women empowerment, the real question comes, in their hierarchy also, the patriarchal tendencies of the male folk will come on the way and see that by this reason or that reason, the Women Reservation Bill is not realized. I, being a communist, is proud to say and to mention a name, and that name is of Comrade Geeta Mukherjee. I should say, Comrade Geeta Mukherjee, all along her life, stood for this cause. And I request the young students here to learn more about her and to understand what role she has played in getting the bill up to this stage. The committee of the Joint Parliamentary Committee, which she was the chairperson, it did enormous job to see that this idea is being taken up by all the political forces in the country. And that struggle has to continue. We have heard a lot utilizing the women of the country. In a poetic way, people used to say, half the sky and half the earth belongs to women. Very, very beautiful to hear that. Half the sky and half the earth. Is it true? No, in the country of ours, forget half the sky, forget half the earth. The right of the woman to give birth to a girl child even at this stage of the 21st century, sometimes denied. The government of the day sometimes is trying to say that there is no right for the women to be equal. On so many occasions we have seen in the parliament also. And in such a situation, the political battle, unifying all the forces who stand for this cause, should be intensified. And we, the Communist Party, view this initiative by Kavitha ji as a part of that movement. In that sense, we have a request to the Prime Minister who chairs the G20 these days. They claim that G20 chairmanship for India is something great, rewarded for Modi himself. We all know, so the rotation. This year it's India, it was Indonesia earlier, next year somebody else will come, rotation it is. Anyhow, now Modi ji is the chairman of the G20. In the G20 agenda we have seen, an important point is that women empowerment. I have a challenge to Mr. Modi. Will he be there enough to see that when the G20 summit takes place in Delhi, can he assure that before that this bill will be passed by the government of India? If that is there, we can say that what they say is true. Minus that, we can only say that words are beautiful, deeds are not. So at the moment we need deeds, not words. I conclude here.
Thank you, Binayji. May I request Ms. Sumati, Honorable MP from Chennai South, DMK, to please have a few words with us.
Sumati is my maiden name, but I'm known as Tamarachi, the pseudonym with which I write my poems. Basically, I'm a poet, a former professor of English, but I do write my creative literature in my native language, Tamil. That's why I've adopted the name Tamarachi. So I'd like to congratulate Madam Kavitha for having taken up this wonderful initiative, especially involving all the school children to make themselves sensitized about the most pressing topic or the issue of this country. And as a proud Tamilian, I come from the land of Periyar. And Periyar is far above all the European feminists, I would say. You must be familiar with this name. And Dr. Kalaignar, our founder head of the party DMK, was a pioneer of the reservation movement. And for all the students who have gathered here, Tamil Nadu, when Kalaignar was the chief minister, was the first state to give the property rights to women way back in 1986. Right from that time onwards, we have had a long history, pioneering history, in fighting for the women's rights. Especially recently, our Tamil Nadu chief minister, Mr. Thalapathy M.K. Stalin, in the local body elections, had pitched one Priya Rajan in the history of Corporation of Chennai, 200 years of history, the colonial history. Priya Rajan was the second woman mayor who's going to serve the full term. And there are 100 women councillors in Tamil Nadu, thanks to the reservation policy of our chief minister. So that's like a prelude to the whatever issues we are just discussing here. Somebody gave a cue about the patriarchal mindset, I believe, Manoja, I think. Then we had to start from Aristotle. We all, like worship Aristotle. I do have a due respect because I'm an English professor, learned a lot from him. But still, it was Aristotle who said, when men were born, there was light, but when women were born, there was darkness. He had such a subordinate views about women, but even at that time, even before, Christ was born, 5,000 years ago, 4th century BC, when Aristotle was teaching to his disciples that women were subordinate to men, a woman by name Aspasia disguised herself as a man and took up the pride of being the world's first woman doctor, because those days only men were allowed to do medicine. So we were progressive not only in this millennial era, we were born like that. And in fact, reservation is a birthright. It's not that somebody has to give it, put it on a platter and we need to take it from them. It's a birthright, and we need not even emphasize on 50%, 60% or 70%. So what I would like the young minds to register is that to get women empowerment in all the stages, walks of life, you should be placed in the strategic positions to make decisions. That's why Madam Kavitha has taken up this initiative, because Women Reservation Bill will place women to sit in strategic decision-making positions, to speak up for them, to bring about the rights for them, and it's high time. So many hurdles we have faced in bringing about this bill, and lots and lots have been talked and spoken and voiced about it. As parliamentarians, we are all united here, especially our party, which has always stood up and which will be standing up for the rights, especially for this bill, will definitely extend the support. And as had been rightly mentioned by Madam Kavitha here, we will also make all the interventions in all the possible manners. We are not going to stop just by putting a question in this session or just by raising a 377 in some other session. We will all, I think, put up pressure by working continuously towards it, until otherwise, the top head will budge in. But it's not an easy task. Again, that was their electoral promise, but they have not kept, as usual, none of their promises. And this has been pushed under